child.
When you were saying what the kidneys do,
Yep.
I'm not sure about this, but would an emotional balance also be? They balance your pH levels and these things, but as I've noticed, they also have something to do with the emotions as well. Would that be correct?
Absolutely, because the state of your acid-alkaline balance in your blood and in your body entirely affects your emotions. And I'll just give you a really simple example of this. If your body has become very acidic, you're more likely to have inflammation, and inflammation is pain. Now, if you're in pain, you're much more likely to feel bad, right? Your worldview is going to shrink down, and all you really care about is not being in pain anymore, right? You're not going to be really open to new concepts or new ideas and new ways of looking at life. You're not going to feel very connected to the people around you because you're in a severe amount of pain. There's people who do manage to transcend that, of course, and manage to be totally open and loving and grateful despite the amount of pain they're in, but there's a definite tendency for that. So that's just a really
go away.
that's a really obvious example of that, of where an excess of acidity will lead to a shift in emotional state. And it's the same the other way around. The more that we alkalise ourselves, the more that we tend to be more open, connected, grateful, and all these sort of generally positive or also yin, feminine sort of emotions. Now, I just want to clarify here that there's nothing wrong with acidity per se. Like I say, acidity relates to focus. It also relates to being goal-orientated, getting things done. So you don't want to be totally alkaline. This is where some people go a little bit too far in this. You don't want to be, always in a loved-up, sort of happy, grateful state. Sometimes you need to get things done. You need to be focused. You need to be clear. You need to be on the ball. You need to go for it, right? So we're just talking about restoring the balance.
Sure.
So how does this all relate to exhaustion? Let me just see if I can tie all the pieces back together. So we get exhausted rather than just tired, right? So tiredness, there's nothing wrong with. So we'd probably agree that at the end of the day.
Sleep, job done.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Tiredness is natural. It's just a mechanism. It means there's more melatonin going around your bloodstream, less serotonin. Melatonin being a neurotransmitter. Serotonin being a neurotransmitter, telling you time to rest, time to recuperate, time to repair. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. But exhaustion, and in this I'm going to include, I had a particular person ask a question about adrenal fatigue, and they were asking about thyroid problems, thyroid deficiencies. I think they also mentioned some medical conditions which are like an extension of that, which I can't comment on because I'm not a qualified medical practitioner, but I'll just say that when you have imbalances related to the thyroid and the adrenal glands, then that's going to tend to be because this exhaustion issue we're talking about right now has just got pushed that bit too far.
Yeah.
And even though you should definitely always seek the advice of a qualified medical physician, nonetheless you'll definitely have substantial benefit through resolving the issue of exhaustion, which is what we're talking about, through the means that we're going to talk about.
Sure.
That's definitely going to help.
I had a similar thing with my kidneys and adrenals as well, so I understand that exhaustion. And just depletion of you can only squeeze them so much and then they just go, you know what, ain't nothing left. Leave me alone, give me a break.
Yeah, this relates to another thing. I mean, when that feeling that you're talking about right there gets to a certain level, that relates to what is called chronic fatigue, or ME, which I believe I am allowed to talk about because most medical doctors don't consider it a real disease. But and I know that the people who suffer from it know that it's a very real issue and a very real problem. So something like that is what I would call extreme chronic exhaustion. And basically any advice I'm going to give for exhaustion will count for people who are suffering from that, but people who are suffering from that are just that much more exhausted and depleted. Now let me just say there's a chain reaction that goes on here as well. So the kidneys, from the data perspective, like the root of the whole body, the root organ system. Okay?
Yeah, because they're the bit that had energy when you were born, yeah?
Yes, that's right, yeah. There's a different type of energy called Shen, and that's something that you're pretty much born without and you have to develop as you get older. The kidney energy gene is the exact opposite. You start off with your peak, and with the exception of Daoist carbs and certain very advanced meditational practices, there's no real way to replace it once it's been depleted. So it's really important to do that. Now, there are ways to keep your energy high and to experience more drink energy, and that is to have a little bit more experience of yin energy, but we'll talk about that in a bit. What I wanted to address first of all is the issue of when the adrenals are particularly fatigued and therefore the kidneys are particularly drained, it has a knock-on effect. And every other organ at the 5 main organ systems which make up the whole of the human organism from a Taoist point of view goes out of balance. So often it's really hard work for myself when I do a consultation with someone initially, because every organ system is out of balance. So they've got problems with their lungs, they've got problems with the liver, they've got problems with the heart, they've got problems with the spleen, and they've always got problems with the kidneys. So a lot of the time, you know, and this is where experience comes in, because you wouldn't know where to start, you know, and some people think, oh, you know, my digestion's bad, can you help me with that? So people say, oh, I really feel like I need a liver detox, you know, my liver's out of order, and think, wait. So sometimes you do need to deal with initial symptoms as they're there. So if the person's liver happens to be weak, then we do want to give them, say, our cleanse formula, and restore balance and harmony to that by unblocking energy blockages which relate to the liver stagnating and overheating. But fundamentally, we always want to be looking at the kidneys. We always want to take the Rejuvenate formula. So if you're watching this, if you watch some of the other videos and you're not sure what you should start with, what you should do, I say always start with the Rejuvenate. Especially if you experience tiredness, exhaustion, stress, any of those other sort of issues. But just in general, whatever you're going through, Rejuvenate will help, it will make a difference, and it also happens to taste really nice, better than all the others. So that's another added little bonus. So the kidney is the root of everything. Always start with the kidneys. That's just a distinction that I like to make, because ultimately all disorders of the body, including all the symptoms and all the medical conditions that I can't mention or talk about, will be related to the kidneys being exhausted.
Okay. And it does make a massive difference, I found, when I gave them a rest, i.e. from coffee and cigarettes. Just that, and getting out of a stressful job. Instantly my mood was improved, and I had the desire to join the gym or, you know, be more healthy and improve my lifestyle more and more. But until I made that initial step with even beginning to get cleanse going on with them, it was just like, I can't be bothered.